It's the ongoing history of protest songs. Clap your hands and sing along. So yeah, this is CJ Baker, and as everybody knows, yesterday was the Super Bowl. And in connection with the Super Bowl, there was actually two notable moments in connection with protest music. So first, this one might not get as much attention, but it was notable. Green Day opened the Super Bowl with their performance, and the performance included a medley of songs from their 2004 anti-Bush protest album, American Idiot. And Green Day at times has been pretty vocal in speaking out against ICE and against Donald Trump. During this performance, they didn't make any direct statements, but the selection of songs spoke for themselves, especially the title track to American Idiot. But then the more notable moment that we're going to discuss here, and we're going to discuss another moment in connection with this, Bad Bunny performed the halftime show. So as soon as Bad Bunny was announced as the halftime performer, it immediately caused controversy among a segment of conservative individuals, or specifically, you can say like the far right MAGA contingent. And there was a few things that they kind of lost their minds over. The big thing was the fact that he sings predominantly in Spanish. So you got those individuals, it's like, how dare you have a performer at this US, like the Super Bowl football, American football. It should be sung in English. So that was a big critique. But then the other critique was also the fact that you should get American to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. But first off, that was an idiotic argument because he's Puerto Rican, and as a Puerto Rican, he's an American citizen. But also those people that criticized Bad Bunny not being American and performing the Super Bowl halftime show, they didn't seem to necessarily have an issue with U2, Paul McCartney, and Coldplay being halftime Super Bowl performers, and none of them are American. So you kind of wonder, like, what's the difference there? But then there was some other critiques of why people had an issue with Bad Bunny. Part of the reason is he's been a vocal critic of both Donald Trump and ICE. It actually stood out during the Grammy Awards when he accepted his award for Album of the Year. And that was notable because he was the first Spanish speaking artist. It was the first time that a Spanish speaking album won Album of the Year. But he made some statements about ICE out during his acceptance speech. But then there's some other controversial aspects. Like at times, he's been known to wear dresses as well, partly like in solidarity of the LGBTQ community. But because of that, there were individuals, there was even like false leaks that he was going to wear a dress during his Super Bowl halftime performance, which of course did not happen. So there were those controversies around that. But also in response to those controversies, the far right leaning political organization, Turning Point USA, decided to have their own alternative real American halftime show, which was headlined by Kid Rock. So I decided what I'll do with this video is I kind of critique and compare the two halftime shows. So we'll begin with the Turning Point USA one, And just as a note, when I watched this, I actually watched Pat Finity kind of watch along video. So Pat Finity, for those that don't know, he has a series of YouTube videos and a podcast on what makes this song stick. So he basically analyzes terrible songs. And Kid Rock's actually a frequent subject of his videos.
To be an American. God damn it, this song is the worst. Always has been. That song is American. Everybody who's actually watching this fucking halftime show today liked this. Their parents had the CD in the car, or they had the CD in the car. I don't know if you can hear me. You probably can't. I mean, I knew this song stunk when I was like 6. I was like, I don't know about this one. And I'm proud to be in America. Funky Worms, I understand your mom loves that song. I'm not saying that we're not all related to people.
So I partly watched the Pat Finity watch along video once. I didn't have to directly watch from Turning Point USA and the other conservative channels, but also Pat Finity basically roosted the performance. So it was a really funny, hilarious video as well. So basically, the performance began with a guitarist performing the national anthem. So it was an electric guitar version. Which is the thing. After Jimi Hendrix did the perfect instrumental electric guitar version, where he even transformed the anthem into a protest tune. Any other version that came after that is cringe. So no one else should have ever recorded that, an electric guitar version of that ever again. As far as the overall Turning Point Real American halftime performance, it was pretty cringe, as you would expect. It wasn't necessarily as blatantly right-wing political as I thought it might have been, but there were moments of that. Like the most political performance was Lee Bryce, who did during one of his songs have some of the common right-wing talking points, and he had some lyric about boy being a girl, and he had some other lyrics in there.
Yeah. What about a kid? Yeah, what about the kids that get fucking gunned down by AR-15s? Not turn the TV on, sit and watch the evening news. Be told if I tell my own daughter that little boys ain't little girls, I'll be up the creek in hot water.
But like I said, for the most part, it was more cringe than blatantly political. And there was also some reference to the Bible and Christianity. And that was part of the whole thing about Turning Point USA is it is right leaning Christian organization. So it's the fundamentalist Christians that are kind of involved in this as well. But one of the other more cringe aspects of it was actually Kid Rock. And he basically had two performances. So first it was Ba Da Da. And what made his cringe was it had some horrendous lip syncing. Like, yeah, it was like comically bad. But then afterwards, he performed another country song. I don't think it was an original tune. I didn't look up who originally did the song, but he performed it as Bob Ritchie.
What about his Bob? It's not the long hair anymore. Rob went Bob.
Greasy parts sitting in the trunk of that 65, still waiting on you and your grandpa to bring it back to life.
This is.
He can always
Can you imagine the kids that are being forced to watch this right now? Like, you sit down, you're an American, son. You sit down and you watch this because you're an American, son. And you're a boy. And you sit down and you watch this. You're American. This is what being American is all about.
So it was almost like the Bob with the Doll was Kid Rock, and then he then performed the second acoustic song under his real name, Bob Ritchie. Um, and there was a portion of that song where he talked about Christianity and the Bible and being converted. So I don't know if that was a notable statement because Bar Da, for something that was supposed to be a celebration of Christianity, it did have some, let's just say, raunchy lyrics. Like there was some lyrics there, which he included in his performance about strippers, etc. So maybe he did that intentionally to try to make a meaningful statement. Not that Kid Rock is really capable of making like really deep philosophical statements, but it's possible that's what he was trying to go for. But at least because this is something that resurfaced as soon as Kid Rock was announced the headliner, he did have previous lyrics and previous statements, basically that were pedophile, promoting the nature. Like he had lyrics, which I'm not going to quote here, about having sex with minors. So at least he did not include any of those lyrics during the halftime show. So yeah, that was just a brief synopsis of the Kid Rock led halftime show, which also included a bit of a tribute to Charlie Kirk, who was a founder of 10 Point USA, and then there was a bit in the end to try to get people to donate. So we're now going to contrast that with the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show, which actually had a lot of notable statements. I wouldn't necessarily say it was in your face political, but there definitely was a lot of statements there. And I'll just review my notes here of some of those statements. Like most notably, a lot of those statements was connected to the songs that he performed from his 2025 album, which was a very political album. And the album as a whole dealt with issues of Puerto Rican identity and gentrification. So a lot of the statements was connection with that. And also one of the songs, and I'll apologize if I mispronounce that, was Loque Pasa Awaye, which is also, I did a video on the top 25 protest songs, and I actually included this Bad Bunny song. But basically, this song compared Hawaii statehood and how it lost some of the aspects that made it unique to Puerto Rico and what might happen if Puerto Rico became the 51st state. So the lyrics, loosely translated, was basically around along the lines of don't let what happened to Hawaii happen to Puerto Rico because Bad Bunny doesn't want Puerto Rico to lose the cultural aspects that make it unique. But there were a number of other aspects as well. Like he performed a song, and I don't want to butcher it, so I'll give the based on the research, it translates as the power outage. So the song was a protest song. It was a 2022 protest song which addresses the infrastructural failures during Hurricane Maria. So he performed the song while standing on a power line with an exploding pole and a Puerto Rican independence flag. So yeah, there was a strong, clear political statement right there. But probably the most touching moment was when he handed his Grammy award to a 5-year-old actor, Lincoln Fox. So there was some on social media who mistaken this 5-year-old actor for Liam Ramos, who was the 5-year-old detained by ICE in Minnesota on January 20th. So it was not the same 5-year-old kid, but if this was intentional, it did contain powerful symbolism. So it contained powerful symbolism of how a child deserves to be loved and acknowledged instead of detained and traumatized. But it also, the performance concluded on a powerful note. So he made the statement, God bless America. And then he name dropped and displayed flags for all the countries in North, South, and Central America. And it was actually kind of comical because most of those countries are Latin America, but he name dropped Canada as well. So there were people online, it's like, why did he name drop Canada? Well, the reason why is because it is one of the countries in the Americas. So it wasn't just Latin America. So he name dropped all those countries and then he included the American flag. And then he held up a football which stated, Together we are America. And then he spiked the football. So we mentioned the other alternative halftime show. So the counter program called itself All American. But the ironic thing was with the name drops and the flags, this was actually literally All American. So you can make the argument that Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show was the real, legit All American show. So, of course, I get that it's just not necessarily going to be everyone's cup of tea, like musically. And there was a time where Bad Bunny wasn't necessarily in my wheelhouse, but I got to appreciate him more, especially with his 2025 album, when I realized what the songs were about and the political statements there. So, as someone who's deeply into protest music, I gained a newfound respect to him. And also realizing the political statements within this performance and realizing how impactful it was, I personally can't help but appreciate and respect this performance. And also, I forgot to make one other statement. At the conclusion, on the monitor, made the statement, the only thing stronger than hate is love. So the only thing stronger than hate is love. So yes, a message of unity like that, of unity and love should not be controversial. But unfortunately, the fact that it is or is going to be to a segment of people, it's just a sad testimony of the times that we're living in. Like, for example, even in connection with that, Donald Trump immediately tweeted out how he really did not enjoy Bad Bunny. And you guys see him tweet out because he's not on Twitter or now X. I guess he posted on Truth Social, which I guess is the right wing equivalent to Twitter. Yeah, I refuse to call it X. It's always gonna be Twitter to me. So yeah, he made a truth social post how he strongly disliked and was offended by Bad Bunny's performance and said he was confused by it. But even the fact that people would be confused by the statement that the only thing stronger than hate is love, that's a sad testament on society and kind of on the mindset of those within the MAGA contingency. So yeah, I just wanted to make a brief video comparing the two halftime shows. And if out of morbid curiosity you do want to watch the alternative Kid Rock headline performance, I recommend you watch the Pat Finity one, where you get his commentary as well, and you get him roasting the performance. And also by doing so, you don't give the official streams any views. So before I conclude, I just want to mention on my website, so shameless plug. It actually took me the end of the video to do my first shameless plug. Ongoing history of protestsongs.com. I just posted an article discussing not only Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, but I discussed four others. So basically, the title of the article is Bad Bunny and four other times that the Super Bowl was political. And I'm considering possibly recording a video version of that article as well. But before I do that, I just wanted to post this video specifically comparing the two halftime shows. So basically, Bad Bunny versus Kid Rock. And in my mind, I mean, obviously, hardcore conservatives are going to claim that the Turning Point USA show is better. I'm suspecting once the ratings come out, it's not even going to compare. But regardless, in my mind, anyone that's looking at this objectively, the Bad Bunny show, even if you're not into the music, did contain more layers and more meaning than the cringe train wreck show that was supposedly called the All American, even though the true All American show was the show that braced all of America. And this is a key point. All of America is not just the United States. So it's good to get that in mind because the United States is the United States of America. But America is North America, Central America, and South America. And it includes those Latin American countries. So when you say all American, for it to be literally all American, you need to include representation from all of those American countries. So, like I said, check out the website, ongoing history of protestsongs.com. Check out that article. I'm most likely in the next day or two gonna record a video version of that article, but a lot might depend on how well this video does. So if you want me to make that video, let me know in the comments. And if you want me to keep making videos, please like and subscribe. So thanks for watching and please stay safe.
The bang, diggy, 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 diggy. Kid Rock sucks the booty.